Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Let's jump into some things here. We had reports coming in, not we specifically, but there were reports over the weekend going out on Reddit and on Doctor of Credit and just spreading like wildfire about Chase business cards starting to report to folks' personal credit. Now, why is this a big deal? This would destroy what has been called colloquially the Chase ink train, where if you have a certain number of Chase cards, according to Chase's marketing language, you would start getting denied for personal cards, but you could still get business cards. This is the rule that I'm not going to say, but comes across every video. It's the reason to get into Chase first. It's the reason that people put Chase first in mind. And again, I think it's just pure marketing. So inks were starting to appear on personal credit. Now, interestingly enough, it was showing up on TransUnion and Equifax. Now, by state, Chase will pull from various bureaus. In New York, where I am, they've always pulled Equifax. No one was mentioning that these cards were reporting on their Equifax personal credit reports. So what is the issue with this? So, one, it would take everyone who was playing Chase's ink train game and just immediately make them ineligible for inks going forward. Be that as it may, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I do think that folks who have business spend versus folks who have business spend be causing some issues. But neither here nor there. It also would create some problems for those with business versus business spend, because Chase ink cards, the ink cash and the ink unlimited, have no annual fee and no purchase APR for the first 12 months of holding the card. So one thing you'll notice is, depending on what the limits are, some folks will max that limit, because if that limit's not reporting to personal credit, it's not going to hurt your utilization. So there are folks who will hold like 75, 80% utilization on an ink card, but those same folks will be holding 1 to 3% or maybe up to 10% utilization on a personal card. While you may be getting more utilization, potentially adding to your credit history, there are trade-offs here and there with what it would do to your personal credit. For some folks, it may sink their personal credit a little bit. Folks are reporting reductions as high as 80 points over the weekend. So this could be really bad. Now, this has happened before. Something like this has happened before. It was mentioned on the Doctor of Credit, where a couple years ago this happened and it was a glitch in the system. And so while folks were freaking out, one of the things that they probably should have been doing while freaking out, because they weren't going to get great customer service over the weekend. They were going to get a hold of customer service, but it was all relatively new, and potentially you were going to get signals crossed over the weekend. And waiting until Monday to call customer service again, for a lot of folks, that was going to be too much. There was a lot of fear and uncertainty going around. Oh man, my ink plans are gone. And they mentioned that other cards were being reported, not just ink cards, Chase business cards from Southwest, from United, from Hyatt. All the business cards were getting reported. So is it a bad thing if these cards report to personal credit? No, not necessarily. Is it a bad thing if these cards report to personal credit, but you're not reporting as a sole prop? That's where things get a little tricky, because there are folks who are mentioning like they were doing things through an LLC, and those are reporting to personal credit. That's a little dicey. Who is this going to hurt? Definitely folks with business spend. Not business spend, but business spend. Why? Because if you're maxing out that card, or you're leveraging that card for everything you can during your business cycles, and your revenue is going to pay it off and all of that, having that report to personal credit, depending on how much personal credit you have and how much available credit you have, that's going to drive up your utilization. Utilization is one of the biggest things for your personal credit. So it was causing some serious consternation. Whereas with folks with business spend, they were also worried about the utilization. They're also worried about things getting reported. Now, as of today, March 3rd, there was an update on the Doctor of Credit article on this one that says, update March 3rd, Chase representatives are now acknowledging that this is an error. They are stating you need to call to get this resolved, while others are stating that it will automatically be removed after your next statement cycle. I suspect this will be fixed automatically for all card holders, but if you need to get it fixed sooner, contacting Chase is your best bet. So if this happened to you over the weekend, contacting Chase, getting a ticket set up will probably be in your best interest. But I want to take some time just to highlight that all good things will eventually come to an end. If Chase decides to change things and start reporting inks to personal credit, I would imagine first they're going to start with folks with the more on the business side of things, folks who are applying sole proprietor with their social security number, all of the Watch Me Apply videos that you've seen on YouTube, regardless of creator, all of the Watch Me Apply videos you've seen where, they're highlighting, I'm doing this with my social security number. You don't need an EIN number. You don't have to worry about setting up an LLC. It's just the beginnings of a business, all of that. Those folks are probably going to get hit first if these get moved in a direction where inks start reporting to your personal credit, whether it's the Ink Unlimited, the Ink Cash, or the Ink Preferred. Now, do I see Chase going after folks with business spend? Not business, but business spend. Not necessarily. They're aware of who their business customers are and who their business customers are. So I don't think you're going to see Chase go after their business customers, but they are going to potentially, in time, again, depending on factors beyond anyone who's watching this video's control, but macroeconomically, if things start getting bad and they have to start tightening credit and start tightening availability of credit and start tightening entrepreneurial spirited folks from accessing more credit on the business side of things, because who knows what's going to happen, they're going to go after the folks who are applying with business spend, as opposed to those who have established relationships, have legitimate business spend, have things ongoing, any long-term relationship with Chase. But eventually, they're aware of the folks who are gaming the system. They're aware of the folks who are not gaming the system. They'll probably try to avoid hurting the folks who are not gaming the system, but they'll get caught up in things as well. So, yes, everyone will say, make hay while the sun is shining, or anything worth doing is worth overdoing. But really, if it's about business spend, don't think that it's going to last forever, right? I'm hesitant to add any more on in terms of business spend, but I am trying to build this channel. I am trying to build the podcast, the Stack Your Points podcast. I'm contemplating a second channel. I'm contemplating another podcast. I'm thinking of other ways that is business spend, but it'll end up being a mix of business and business, unfortunately. So I'm fully cognizant of that, right? I'm not going to be going out and rushing to add another ink anytime soon. I was flirting with the idea of, if Chase comes out with an ink reserve or whatever this palm card is supposed to be, giving that a spin. I'm less inclined to, with these reports, even if it's an error, right? And it's a glitch that's happened before, then I'm on the hook for a $550+ annual fee card that'll have a high amount of spend that I'm not sure I can hit, so that would disqualify me immediately. But taking these glitches once, you can write it off. Twice now in a number of years, maybe you write it off, but I think it's best to just take a step back. If you've got inks, utilize the inks that you've already got. If you only got inks for the welcome offer, hey, I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully you can start qualifying for some no lifetime language offers, because the ink train can derail at any moment. And there was so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt over the weekend. It didn't help that the first of the month and a lot of folks' closing dates came right at the end of the month, and the first of the month was a weekend. So just keep in mind, banks can change terms at any time. Banks are not our friends. Banks are going to be looking out for the banks first. Do with that as you will. I'm not here to tell you what to do or what not to do. I won't tell you what cards to get and what cards not to get. But no, maybe the gravy train is coming to an end. I'm going to put a cap on it there. Just wanted to get this out there as this is what was happening. This is why this would be bad. And don't rely on this forever. So if you like what I do, hit the like and subscribe button down below. We are quickly approaching 1,700 subscribers. I would love to get to 2,000 as soon as we can. Check out the Stack Your Points podcast. I co-host that with Call Me Lonnie, RJ from Do You Take Cards, Tariq from Reeks Rewards. And check out the pinned comment for ways to support me outside of YouTube. If you want to support me here on YouTube, consider becoming a channel member. That is the Tidbits Collector, my one and only channel membership. Thanks so much for your time. I have gone on way too long. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.